Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make.
Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave. 6 feet deep under, but my body won't decay. Cause my messages are timeless, so they'll put them on display. Oh yeah, I rap with a certainty, I have a sense of urgency. A message for eternity, for everyone internally. I had some people burning me, but now they fucking learn to see I ain't the one to fuck with, now they looking nervously. And I don't really care what you think of me respectfully. You can kick rocks if you think you're fucking better, see. I will outwork you, turn you to an enemy. Hurt you so bad that you're gonna need some therapy. I got the motherfucking recipe. I've been cooking up hits, I'ma leave a legacy. You'll be looking small when you're standing right next to me. I'm 5'10", bitch, but I'm 10 feet next to me.
I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yeah, I'ma do it my way.
What's up, everybody? Good evening. Welcome in. Tonight we got another little meeting for you. It's coming out of Walsenburg. Got a few issues on the table here. Supposedly they want to start a new police force over there. We all, at least in the area, know about the issues with the sheriff's department. But I think their choice on a chief of police is a little bit questionable. What do you think, GCM?
Well, I mean, he is under investigation, allegedly, and he couldn't keep his department in order, allegedly. But we're going to hire him, allegedly.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I thought that they were going to have, like, Bruce Newman do it, but Bruce Newman's underneath investigation himself, so, I mean, maybe it's a trend.
And under Sheriff Smilin' Mylan, you know, he said, well, it's not always what it seems, you know. It's not always what it seems. Maybe, you know, we should just give this guy a chance because nobody's going to come here that wants to do something. So on the agenda tonight will most definitely be the new police chief. So we'll see what else they have to talk about tonight. Should be a fairly short show, I would think. But we're just waiting for their Zoom to kick off, and then we'll get that going. Appreciate y'all being here. Thanks for those thumbs up. Appreciate the support.
Right. We've had a few things happen around the area. I mean, with the Fowler police, the chief of police that went over to Monte Vista is no longer there. There's been a lot of issues going on in southern Colorado with the police departments and sheriff's departments.
Right. Yeah, a lot of change going on. And chiefs are hard to get. Like, let's be honest. There's a lot of places looking for chiefs right now. They're not easy to come by. It's hard to find a good cop, let alone a good cop with leadership qualities, right? It's not an easy position to fill with the right person.
No, not at all. But they've been having their issues all over the place. I'm surprised at what's going on in Walsenburg, to tell you the truth. But then again, when you've got the sheriff's department saying that they don't want to cover anything over there anymore, what are you going to do, right?
That's like Aguilar, right? Like, you have to get your own police force. So, and they're just not easy to come by. We got a lot of jumpers, right? Like, we call them jumpers. They'll just go from department to department to department, but none of them last long. So as far as like continuity, there ain't much there, you know. The Warfano Sheriff's Department is an example, right? Like, they had like 15 officers come and go, you know. So Only a couple stayed. And I mean, they're like you say, they're dealing with their own issues. So the police department being separate from the sheriff's department, the police department has an opportunity to go into Walsenburg and do some things, help the neighborhood. It could be a huge benefit. The crime there, the drugs, just a lot of things there they could really work on, if they had the right intentions. That is the key, finding the right intentions. What's up, John DeNicola? Good to see you.
Right.
They should be kicking off here in a few minutes. We're just waiting for them to start their meeting on Zoom. You guys can all feel free to go watch it on Zoom as well. It's just the Walsenburg City meeting that we are watching tonight.
And it's connecting.
There we go. Okay. All right. Hopefully everybody can see and hear that good. Should be able to. They have pretty good sound here.
The recording's in progress.
Feel free to join over here. Look at that you people guy. All right. It's on the agenda tonight, John. All right. Anytime now. They should be starting. Little agenda. If you go to that page, you can just click in the top right corner. It'll take you to their Zoom meeting, guys. Doesn't matter to me if you watch over on my channel or you people's channel or you watch on their Zoom, as long as you're paying attention.
Right.
All right. Here we go. Roll call, roll call.
Mayor Gazani,
Here.
Veronica Mays.
Here.
Ronald Stafford.
Here.
Nick Vita,
Here.
Fred Ecker,
Here.
John Martinez.
Here. Eddie, be on Zoom. Be on Zoom. I don't see him.
Oh God, there's all kinds of people on this one.
Rick, are you there?
Yes, I am
There you go. Stay here.
here.
He's
Okay,
there,
stand
he's
for the
there.
pledge, please.
It seems they have no video.
Would you? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, Chris, good to see you. Brooke, thanks for coming. Appreciate this.
I'd entertain a motion for the approval of tonight's agenda.
Motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I got a motion by Nick Hill. Second by Ronald Stafford. Comments? All in favor?
Aye. Do we need to move the hearing?
Or probably just remove it.
Yeah.
It got put in the wrong spot. Sorry.
So we just need to remove it, right? Because it's in the right spot.
Nick, if you want to.
Because it's in the right spot. It's just that piece needs to be removed. Got it.
I'm removing aye.
And putting that under J, I guess.
What's already under J?
Excuse me, is anyone else having visual problems? I can't
Yes.
see Chambers.
Yes, we can't see them.
Yeah, I can't see nothing either.
We all look the same.
Oh, you good one.
My hair's kind of bad.
There you go.
So I'm okay with it.
How about now?
There
Yep,
we
You
go.
did
There
it.
we
Thank
go.
you.
Thank
What's up,
you.
X?
Okay,
Corey, good to
so
see
we
you
just
guys.
eliminate I, Joe?
That's
Great.
better.
Okay.
What I said.
Okay. Second, you said eliminate.
Yes.
Eliminate I.
Got a motion by Nick Hill, second by Ronald Stafford. Discussion. All in favor?
I.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Consent agenda tonight is approval of one liquor license at vendors. No issues. It's under the consent agenda. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Motion to approve the consent agenda. I got a motion
Second.
from Don Martinez, a second by Nick Hill. Any discussion? All in favor?
I.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Starting with the minutes, I would entertain motions.
One at a time or all of them?
Well, I wasn't here for one of them, so.
Yeah, we better do one at a time.
Motion to approve December 12th, 24 city council special meeting minutes.
Got a motion by Nick Hill,
Second.
second by Ronald Stafford. Discussion? All in favor?
I.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Next.
Motion to approve December 17th, 2024 city council regular meeting minutes.
I got a motion by Nick Hill, second by Ronald Stafford. Discussion? All in favor?
I.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Keep going, Nick.
Motion to approve December 19th, 2024 city council special meeting minutes.
I got a motion by Nick Hill. Second by Ronald Stafford. Discussion? All in favor?
I.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. One more.
Motion for the approval of December 31st, 2024 city council special meeting minutes.
I got a motion by Nick Hill. Second by Ronald Stafford. Discussion?
For the 31st?
Yeah. 21st.
Yeah.
So I wasn't here and kind of a little disappointed that we did that on New Year's Eve, but that it couldn't have waited till tonight, but just my comment. So I'll abstain.
Me also. I wasn't here.
You abstain.
Mike?
Other discussion? Roll call, two abstains. In favor?
I.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
I accidentally waited till tonight. I have no idea.
You got all the staff reports in front of you. You have the enclosures. I'm assuming everybody's had a chance to read them before now. Any questions of anybody? Okay, we could move on. Citizens' comments. We got first, Shannon.
Huntington Township, how you doing tonight? Good to see you.
Lara, Lara.
Great. Good to see you.
Wish I could say Happy New Year, but I at least hope that things will be better this year. When is City Council going to acknowledge the work that Mike Eberwein did on the train caboose? He did a great job, and you said you were going to give him a plaque or something, and that hasn't happened. So something to check into. Appendix A in the Muni Code is still terribly incorrect. Almost everything on it is wrong. Direction was given when I was on council to get it corrected, so why hasn't this happened?
Hey,
Chief of
Gary.
Police. I believe council approves the job description and the wage levels or the bands or whatever you want to call them for the employee handbook. And the city administrator hires the chief of police. Check into that before you sign the agreement. Here. Investigation of the financials. Took 5 city administrators to determine there was a problem. But I believe we finally have someone who is really interested in ensuring the city runs properly and the citizens are protected. Thank you, Mr. Stillwell. You will be a terrific asset to the city of Walsenburg. D. Sandoval, Cynthia Cresswell, Councilmember Veronica Mays, and I have been saying there was something wrong with the financials for years. I have even provided counsel, city administrators, the attorney, DOLA, et cetera, with spreadsheets of concerns that I had. No one listened. No one.
We listened.
Maybe now you will start listening and following up on it. This huge problem might have been resolved years ago if someone had listened and. And I was looking on here, Colorado Revised Statute 31-4-1022 states that all reasonable complaints made against any employees, council members are supposed to promptly be corrected or reported and followed up on. You never did anything on my complaints or anyone else's that they did. So I'm surprised this is on the paper. And my final comment is, we told you so. Next time, listen.
You were on council.
Next time,
You could have
listen.
fixed it.
You could have,
I
all you had to do is, make a motion. I never heard any of you do it.
That's great.
You never did. You never made them.
Myron, good to see you.
Financial director and the city administrator, but then no one else.
Never made a motion.
Well, I made a motion that we had a financial meeting every single month and it never followed through. So I
Yay.
did try to put,
But you had meetings. Never made a motion to do a forensic audit or never made a motion to act. Never-
Burn.
The city administrator.
It's easy to criticize, That's all I'm telling you. It doesn't.
Checking on it now, the truth will come out.
thank you, Joe.
Try to get somebody to listen, but if you didn't.
Time's up.
Let's move on, Carmen. We all know what happened. Let's move on to the future now.
It's always
We
an
all
answer.
know what
That is
happened.
my answer.
Fun.
Well, keep bringing it up then forever.
Who's next?
Haven't we heard this before? It's in the past. We can't do nothing about it now, guys.
I'm David Rush, Chair of Planning and Zoning. This is just in regards to, we've got two resolutions. I'm hoping that it includes C&Z. A public, for public notice for provisions for City of Walsenburg's public meetings. Does that cover P&Z as well?
What's that?
Say that again.
Well, it says a resolution establishing 2025 R01, public notice provisions for the City of Walsenburg's public meetings. Is that all meetings or just your meetings?
I think it's all meetings, isn't it, Gary?
I would think that's all.
I think it's all of our meetings.
Yes,
That's it?
I'm sorry.
That takes care of both ends. Thank you
Yep.
very much.
I should have clarified that. Apologies.
Four people on Zoom.
That's all on the list. We got- Yeah, thank you. You're done with your list here? The
Yes.
People here? Okay, start.
Stacy Decker.
Good evening, Walsenburg City Council, Stacey Decker here. Curious on the staff report, there was quite a few of the water disconnects this time around, first part of the year. That's a loss of revenue in one respect that we keep talking about. And either without payments or the city time in doing those readings, it's a loss of revenue. So can we get an understanding, Mr. Stillwell, you being on understanding the Cassell network system? I'm hoping this is not due to people who make automatic payments on the day it's due and it goes through the next day or something because it's an EFT payment. But I noticed that and I thought that was pretty high for what we normally have. Section K, item 7, I do recommend a no vote for the employment agreement with the police chief, William Benelli. We can and need to do better in choices made for representations of Walsenburg. When there are reasonable doubts regarding prior employment history, we need to err on the side of caution. I've already sent an email to the 3 of you, my reps and Mr. Mayor. I recommend a no vote on that item, please. Okay, this goes back to the staff report. I've had enough time. Shrimp and Dimp on Cowan's report. Does anybody know what that is?
I've seen it. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, work on Shrimp and Dimp. So either that was an autocorrect fail or we've got something new in town that we need to know about. And then one of the last items we're voting on tonight, the maintenance yard fence. With all of our other expenses and financial things that we're walking through right now, is it critical for this quarter or next quarter? Can we postpone that fence? Because there is a fence there now, but can we postpone that, especially due to the cost on that? further out, maybe in the summer, better weather, etc.
Nice answer that, Gary. And we've had a lot of stuff stole out of our yard, out of our shops. I think we need to put a good fence.
Okay, maybe lock the garage door too, because I remember.
Yeah, that too.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
So just to answer the shrimp and dimp, just on the American Public Gas Association, it says the shrimp tool is an online tool that operates of gas distribution systems, can be used to create a written distribution integrity management plan, DIMP.
Okay.
Hey, Lady Justice.
Now I know.
Now everybody knows.
See you.
I would need to have an appendix for the sniper books.
Yeah. Next.
BAADT.
This is Cynthia Cresswell, last name Cresswell. I apologize. I have not updated my desktop. First off, I'd like to say good evening to everybody. I agree. I want to say new business number 7. I agree with Mr. Decker. There's a no vote. The article said that vetting was not done thoroughly and properly. So maybe I can get with Mr. Stillwell and find out what the actual vetting process consists of. That would be great. But if there is questionable doubt, we don't need to bring in a problem to start with. Second item is also under new business, 10 and 10A. And I did send an email and I never got a response back. I looked through the enclosures of both 10 and 10A, printed them out, went line for line, word for word. There is no difference on either one. So I'm wondering why the item is on there twice. That's for the first reading of 1193 for the increase for the gas.
Good to see you, Jim.
Part of those enclosures, number 4, number 5, number 6, you want to do a first reading, but there are no charges listed under 4, 5, and 6 on the enclosure. So I don't see how you can do an adequate reading with no charges, because you're asking the public and yourselves to approve a first reading where there are no numbers listed. Also, agreement with Mr. Decker. If there is any possible way, if that chain link fence is not cut, broken, whatnot, maybe put a better lock, invest in some cameras. Right now, there's so many things right now that you're saying we need to financially bring up so that we can pay off our debts. But so far it's spend money, spend money, spend money, and then have the residents pay additional fees, additional fees, additional fees. That's unacceptable. So thank you.
Okay, I don't know what you're talking about as having prices in the ordinances. They're amending the municipal code on subdivision plats. There's no monetary numbers involved. I'm assuming.
No, item 10 and 10A under new business.
10, I think what you said. Okay, well, let's go back to 10 and 10A. We had this. Do you want to answer that, Joe?
I can.
Familiar with that?
So my computer has been down for the last few days. I'm waiting on IT to get that problem solved, that has those files and that information on it. I do apologize about not being able to change that at this time, but we are going to balance that back out next council meeting.
Okay, yeah. Is there any reason that 10 and 10A are the same identical reading? Like I said, I did print out the enclosures and I went line by line, word for word, and there's nothing different under either one of them. They're all identical.
Correct. It's a computer glitch on my end, and I do apologize about that, but it will be corrected on the next agenda and we'll hear it.
Okay, thank you. No, and then the amounts will also be included under the enclosures on what you're going to decrease and increase?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
They are not identical. One is introduction and one is approval.
Correct. Yes.
They are identical if you go line by line, word for word.
Cynthia, just look at the agenda. One is the introduction and one is the approval. They have to introduce it and then they have to approve it. Read what the agenda says.
It usually doesn't list like that on the agenda. I
No, it
understand the
does not.
confusion.
And the enclosures themselves are identical, Monica, so you read them. Thank you. Before I do something I shouldn't or say something. Thank you.
Yeah, the issue is what we charge for our supply charge. We can't charge more than we pay for it, basically, and we have to go through the PUC and get this all done. And during the change of administration, we didn't reply to get those numbers yet. So we're gonna adjust the next cycle or next meeting, get that done and have the numbers in there. And then we'll prorate if somebody gets charged for an extra couple of weeks or a month of gas charges, we'll prorate that and give that back.
Yep.
We just do not have the data yet. We have to get that from them, so.
Okay, one
Then you
one
asked
last
something
question
about
that I do apologize. According to the ordinances or just reading up on it, it's supposed to do a first reading, a second reading, and then fees can't be implemented until 30 days after the second reading has been approved. Is that correct or incorrect?
That's correct.
Okay, so then they can't be applied to any rates for good 45 days at least? Because the second reading will be next meeting, and then you have to go a 30-day notice after that, correct?
Correct. Whatever that
Okay.
time is.
Thank you.
And then it will be, if we owe people money, it'll be prorated back to the customer.
Have a good night, Jibs.
Can we do that even though it doesn't go into effect until first reading, second reading? Can we credit back?
I think we have to.
Based on the actual, what we needed to do.
Mr. Hyatt, are you online? I see him. He clicked.
Well, I mean, I just don't want to be saying we're gonna credit if we really can't do that. So I mean.
Mr. Hyatt, can we?
They ended up with Dan Hyatt again, you people.
Lowering our gas supply charges. Can we prorate that back if we have to, if we get delayed another few readings?
I don't see Dan Hyatt online.
He's there.
His picture's there.
We can't hear you, Dan.
Who else is talking?
I don't see him on my list that's in here. He may have hung up or did something. He's still there, but
We can see him, Blair. Please be
okay.
still.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I don't even see him.
I think his microphone's not working.
You're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
Okay, we'll get back. How about we get back to that? If you get your mic working, we still can't hear you, Dan.
I'm just saying, I don't want us to be saying we're gonna do something
Yeah.
if we truly can't do it. So I'd rather err on the side of caution.
Yep.
Next, yeah.
Good evening, council. Happy New Year. Dime Sandoval, DEEMAES, SANDOVAL.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. I'm gonna start it off with being the, I don't know, the watchdog, the whatever name it is that I'm called tonight. But since I believe we want to get off to a good start here in 2025. We have two people on the call that are not identified other than iPhone and iPhone 7. I thought we had stated that people needed to identify who they were or they weren't going to be let on the meeting. Now, with that being said, I understand, I think your name is Shannon, is new and maybe isn't aware of that. But there are two people on the call that are not identified. And I know people can put whatever name they want out there, but that's what was discussed. So with that being said, in looking at some of the reports, the service report, why?
Don't identify themselves.
Well, I thought they were supposed to be removed.
I think they should identify themselves or we should disconnect them.
And do you know how to disconnect them?
Well, I mean, give them a chance. So
We've done them 3-4 times.
I know, I'm with you.
So if you can just take them out of the meeting, I would.
Thank you. So on the service report, and this is Mr. Stillwell, good luck to you in this position. I just want to direct a couple of things to you.
I'll say it that way.
Well,
I would even
mean
say-
that. I mean that. So on the service report, it appears that some of the employees that prepare their reports are not paying attention to the detail. If you look at that, they're listing disconnects on there from 2008. So, and I'm not meaning to accuse people, to attack people. It's just look at the report. Why would there be disconnects on there from 2008? Just an FYI. You know, I'm glad to hear that there is a forensic study being done. I don't wish anyone ill will. And I truly hope that for all of us who have been attending these meetings for the last 2 years plus, that there is some resolution and some findings that give us peace of mind about what we've been questioning. I hope that going forward, the council as a whole is more diligent in looking at these reports, and each of you making motions, not just leaving it up to one person or leaving it up to 1 or 2 people to dissent against what's going on, that everyone is paying attention and doing their part in the fiduciary responsibility that you have to the citizens of Walsenburg. Let's do better. Best of luck to all of you in 2025. Thank you.
Thank you, yeah. Next,
Blair Stutzman.
Blair.
Hi, yeah, my name is Blair Sussman, BLAIR. Sorry, I didn't see Dan on there. And you may have went through this already because I was a little late. I can't get into the water enclosure. Is that another computer glitch there?
Yes.
Okay, great. And I'd like to say, Mr. Stillwell, thank you. Welcome aboard and wish you all the luck. Thank you.
M. Lujan.
Manuel Lujan, Lujan. I want to say that I was one of the previous persons behind eliminating the former police department. I do want to see the city law enforcement move forward if possible. But like Mr. Decker and Ms. Creswell stated for number 7, I would highly recommend a no vote to the chief of police position due to the pending issues with the candidate's previous employment history. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Brian Lealander.
Brian Lealander, BRIAN LALANDER. Happy New Year to everyone, to the new administrator, and now the city with a new budget. Obviously, this is a little bit of a controversial meeting with 32 attendants. The police is a big issue. And it's related to a budget that has irregularities in it. So when you look at the history of Walsenburg, there's always been irregularities. And all of this isn't going to be just suddenly solved by an investigation. And Joe's going to continue to find irregularities. I think the important thing is that when we find something, we take the time, we stop, we look at it carefully, and we fix it, instead of postponing it and then it gets forgotten about and it comes up to bite you 2, 3, 5 years down the line. Without your finance department, it's going to be really hard for council to know where you're at with this budget, especially when the budget doesn't match the objectives precisely. So I'd really encourage you to this year have that monthly financial meeting. And when we get to the ordinance number 1190 or 1191, I would like to speak. Thanks.
Okay, everyone has a chance to give comments during reading of ordinances. So.
Mark Craddock.
Oh, I'm sorry, I just didn't remember my hand was up. I just wanted to throw in that as I recall the timetable on ordinances, you have first reading, you have second reading, you have publication, and then 30 days after publication, the ordinance becomes in effect.
That's true. I forgot about that part.
Yeah, so it could be more than 30 days after your second reading.
Right.
That's all I was going to clarify.
Oh, thank you.
That's all.
Nobody else? Mr. Hyatt, do you have microphone yet?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can right now. Good.
Oh, I apologize. I got a new computer and a new sound system and everything, and didn't have a chance to test it until now.
Okay, did you hear the question about whether we can prorate the gas supply charge being it's gonna be because of these ordinance reading?
In other words, don't know.
We were overcharging for it. Can we rebate that back to the customer after the fact?
If you overcharge them, you can.
Okay, that's what Veronica asked, so. So we can rebate that. So that delaying that ain't that big a deal. They'll get their money, just gonna be, might be back a ways. Or a ways down the line.
Normally, I think what happens is you credit their account.
Yes, or yeah, but they'll get it anyway.
So because we have to do this rate change through an ordinance, we don't have to wait till that ordinance is actually effective? I mean, why would we even need an ordinance then if we could just refund people because we overcharged?
I think you could if you know that you did overcharge and you know what those amounts are. But my recommendation would be to wait until the ordinance is effective before you do anything. And that way you're absolutely certain that you're doing it correctly.
What I
make it easier.
Yeah.
So,
because we can't prorate backwards.
Yeah, because until the ordinance is effective, you're going to be charging the same rates. And you're going to be accumulating more overcharges. It's better to go ahead and wait until the rates change, and then you can make one credit for all of the overcharge if that's what you wish to do.
We just.
Yeah, I just want to make sure it's done right.
Okay.
More work.
Once we do a recount or a rate change in Casale, we can do a recalculation of that. And in reverse, it'll give us the true credit amounts.
Well, and when we did that rate increase, we undercharged people for a long time. Remember, there was that whole. Yeah, so, I mean, that's what I'm saying, like, how far back do you go to make this change? So.
It probably would be a good idea for the city to check those rates quarterly as far as the gas supply charge goes.
Yeah, quarterly or monthly. As long as they're halfway stable, if they get really crazy, I think the guy would almost have to go monthly.
Yeah.
And the gas industry's been known to do that, so.
Well, especially in war times.
Yeah.
Well, and we're not there yet, but I mean, the other part I don't like about this is like we're doing gas rate, facilities fees and base fee all in one ordinance. I mean, I think that's a whole different conversation. We're not just talking about supply rate, because if facility fees and base fees get raised enough, it could maybe wipe out, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that having it all in one ordinance is kind of confusing. I think those should have been separate. But
I kind of like them being together. That way you could compare what it's actually going to do, but.
I'm not saying that at the same time. I'm just saying not in the same ordinance. But anyway, I don't know. Without numbers in there, I have no idea what we're talking about.
Numbers first in the next meeting. Hopefully next meeting we'll have the numbers and be able to.
Okay.
Anything else on citizens' comments?
Thank you, Mr. Hyatt.
Public hearing has been deleted.
We do have 1 month, sorry.
You got one more?
Forgive me, John DeNicola. John, you out there?
John, can you hear us?
He's gone now.
Okay.
Okay, move on. Unfinished business, approval of ordinance 1191. I entertain a motion. Anyone?
I'll move to approve ordinance 1191, an ordinance amending Walsenburg Municipal Code, section 17-320, 17-320, regarding subdivision approval and notice.
Okay, I got a motion.
Second for
Motion
discussion.
by Ronald Stafford. I got a second by Nick Mihail. Discussion.
Mayor, can I speak to this for a moment?
Sure, please.
This ordinance is slightly different than the one you approved on first reading. If you take a look at the last page of the ordinance, I added a new section at 17-1-70, which is control over plotting. And I did that because when I did the original one, I missed this section. And so I had to make the same type of corrections in this section so that the ordinance or the code will be consistent. Those are the only changes made. It's just a matter of making the Walsenburg Municipal Code conform to state statute. And that's all we're doing here.
Okay, thank you. Nick, do you have something?
So question about that. So in there, it also says public hearing held 15 days notice of the 7th day of January. Like when did that public hearing happen? Or was
You were supposed to have a hearing before you take up this ordinance. I don't know if that was on the agenda or not.
It was, but we took it off.
You need to have the public hearing. Whenever there is a change in the zoning code, then you're required to have a public hearing before the second reading. So I would suggest that you back up, reverse your decision to take it off of the agenda because it was published, correct? So
They had a public hearing for 1191, yes.
Yeah, put it back on the agenda and conduct your public hearing and then come back and take action on the ordinance.
Was there a public hearing notice? I see oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, it's there.
It was, I don't have the protocol in front of me to run that hearing.
All you need to do, Mr. Mayor, is to simply ask if there are comments from the public, and then if there are comments from council members, and open the public hearing, ask for the comments, and then after you've received all the comments, then close the public hearing, and then the council can take up the ordinance and make its determination.
So just for clarification, so we're having to do a public hearing because the ordinance was changed from the first reading to the second reading?
Yeah.
No, you're having to do a public hearing because the ordinance modifies the zoning code.
Okay.
And whenever there's a change in the zoning code, you have to have a public hearing on it.
Okay, but because the ordinance changed, we can still go ahead and move forward with the second reading, even though it changed from the first reading?
Yes.
And
but as long as you do the public hearing.
And so what was posted in the paper, did it include these changes? And if it didn't, is that an issue?
No. And what happens is when there is an amendment to an ordinance after the first reading, then when the ordinance is published ordinarily by title only, you have to also include all the changes.
Okay, I just want to make sure
Yeah, I get it.
got it. All right, thank you.
Shall we go ahead and re-add this to the agenda first then?
Yeah, since you took it off the agenda, you need to add it back on. It was posted on the agenda, so you're okay.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to reinstate the public hearing for ordinance 1197 to the agenda.
91,
sorry.
I got a motion by Don Martinez, the second by Nick. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. All right, now we're gonna move back to that hearing. And try to have it.
Yeah, I'm glad I've seen that.
We asked for comments from council first or
people?
People.
That's at your discretion, but I would suggest you take comments from the audience first. I notice you have at least one person with their hand raised.
Okay. All right. The public hearing for ordinance 1191 is here open. I would entertain comments from the general public. Anyone? Any comments?
Brian,
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I'm glad to see that you did the addition, to change in 17170, Dan, but, I found one other section that we overlooked. In 17320, if you continue on to section K, it says approval of preliminary plat shall be for the purpose of guidance in the preparation of a final plat, which shall be submitted to the Planning and Zoning Commission and the City Council for approval prior to recording.
Well,
So I don't know if you can just strike City Council in that line in your motion to approve the ordinance, but.
No, what I would suggest we do, thank you for catching that, is go ahead and if they approve this ordinance, then I'll just draft a new ordinance and make that additional change in new ordinance.
Thanks, that's all I had.
Hey, David, do you have something?
Just make sure, you may have already got it covered, I'm not sure. On section 17-3-30, final subdivision plat submittal. You've got D, E, and F. And it said in each case, it's approval by city council. I believe that's incorrect. Should be planning and zoning.
Mine says planning and zoning.
Okay, well. And then
D, E, and F?
you have that corrected then.
Yes.
Good, thank you very much.
Yes.
That's all I've got. Thank you.
Anyone else? Council? Comments?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, I call the public hearing ended, I guess, or whatever we do. Now, can we vote on it?
Yes, now you can have a motion to approve for
Jesus.
whatever action the council wants to take.
It's pretty sad. They have no clue what to do.
Until we get
Unfinished.
Just go.
They've never done it right before,
No,
ever.
you just closed the public hearing, Mayor, so after closing the public hearing, you can go ahead and.
We
call
close the
for
public
motion.
hearings. So now we go down to J, approval of 1191 second reading.
Yes.
Okay. Entertain a motion.
Motion for approval of ordinance 1191 second reading. An ordinance amending Walsenburg Municipal Code, section 17320F and 17320 regarding subdivision approval and notice.
I got a motion by Nick Hill. Second by Don Martinez. Any further comments? Roll call, please.
Mayor Garrett Gazani,
Yes.
Veronica Mays,
Yes.
Ronald Stafford,
Yes.
Nick Vito,
Yes.
Fred Ecker, Don Martinez,
Yes.
Ricky Jennings.
Yes.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion for the next item under unfinished business.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 1190 second reading, an ordinance vacating that portion of the alley located in Grandview Addition, block 14, running northerly from the north boundary of the alley, running east-west from North Polk Avenue to North Hooper Avenue, between East Grand Street and East Elder Street to the south boundary of East Elder Street in the city of Walsenburg, all in Huerfano County, Colorado.
I got a motion by Don Martinez.
Second.
Second by Nick Hill.
Mayor,
Yes.
I believe this has to do with property that's under the control of Ms. Mays through the agency
I don't
that she works
control it.
for.
I just work there. Sorry.
Bye.
I was.
Public comments on this.
Yes, in the ordinance we have to, ordinance resolution. Okay, we're good. Does the public have any comments on this ordinance, second reading? Council?
Brett, I have one question for the attorney. It says here, whereas the city council of the city of Walsenburg further finds that said vacation, is that the proper way to say that? Vacation?
You could, I think.
No.
Seen it other places.
You want to use a word instead of vacation?
Yeah, is vacation means it's vacated?
Yeah, that's correct. It said vacated property or whatever.
Yeah.
It said vacation. I know when I was on planning and zoning, you never used the word vacation when you vacated an alley.
No.
That's why I'm questioning it, that's all.
Just for the public's information, this is a vacation of an alley that's not even been an alley. It's the property on both, the whole block is owned by COG. They built their new building on the west side of it. The old Jehovah Church was on the east side of it, and they're just using the whole area. We have a gas line running through there. There's an easement as part of this vacation, so we have access to that alley. But we see no reason that council of government shouldn't have access to that whole area. So that's all this is.
Yeah. So where is the word vacation at?
It's
right before you start the 1-2 of the paragraphs, it's the whereas right before the now where therefore.
I'm sorry, tell me that again.
Okay, where you got now therefore and paragraph 1, 2, 3 numbered, it's the whereas right above that. The last whereas.
Okay. I don't think it's a problem because the whereases are factual statements. The body of the ordinance is what lies below the now therefore. So I think we're okay.
Okay, thank you. Any more comments? David?
Yes, that, when I first got involved in it, I went out to look for an alleyway. You're right, you can't.
It's not there.
It's not there.
If you look.
Was there ever an alleyway there?
Yeah, when that lot was empty and before they built Jehovah's, I think there was, before they built that church.
Thank you.
Yeah, because they took the gas line down.
Okay.
Yeah, I see it.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No, I'm good with it.
Roll call.
Mayor Garrett Bazzani,
Yes.
Veronica Mays,
And
She's recused herself from the meeting.
The Motor City man, yeah.
Ronald
What's up,
Stafford?
brother?
Yes.
Dick Vigil,
Yes.
Fred Ecker,
Yes.
Don Martinez, Ricky Jennings.
Yes.
Motion carries. Okay, somebody can holler at Veronica. Oh.
He's there.
Okay, now we're under new business. The first thing on the agenda is approval of police chief employment agreement. Little history on what's happened. Administrators have the authority to hire a police chief. That's the direction we gave them. They done all the interviewing. They vetted properly. The post reports and all of that was clean. I believe Morrison did not respond to Mr. Tinklenberg when he tried to call him.
No, they did not.
Yeah, and in the interim, this investigation for Mr. Vincelli is supposedly still going on with Morrison. Everything I found out, it's pretty well nothing to it. It's about some policy, and they were in the middle of changing their police force and have the county take it over, and I'm in the frame of mind that a man should be innocent until proven guilty. And I don't believe there's anything really wrong with it. I wouldn't mind postponing the contract until we find out what they do with that. Whatever, I think it's an inner Morrison investigation of some kind. I'm not sure they'll ever do anything. But anyway, tonight I have Mr. Vincelli here. And I think to just show transparency, and we're all here, I don't think there's nothing wrong. Anybody have any questions of him or want an explanation from him? I think would be beneficial to everybody. Yeah. Anybody?
I'm good with that.
Joe, would you just kind of explain what this, you've probably seen what's been on Facebook and.
Actually, good evening, Mayor, council members, citizens of Walsenburg. My name is Bill Vanelli, and I was the former chief in Morrison. On November 4th, I was placed on administrative leave for alleged policy violations. The Morrison Police Department no longer exists. Those policy violations were nothing more than administrative. It won't hamper my due diligence to be your police chief, nor will it impact anything that I will do here. In fact, anything that I did there. I run a very tight police department, and I'm very transparent when it comes to pretty much everything. There's questions I probably can't answer because I don't know the answer. But if you do have questions for me, I would be glad to stand here and try to do my best to answer them.
The only thing I know the subjects come up about, there was an officer under your employment that had a child abuse and domestic. That's been floating out there. I'd like to have all that answered.
On October 4th, I was contacted as the police chief of Morrison on my off time that one of my officers was going to be arrested for those allegations. He was taken into custody by an outside law enforcement agency for those allegations. And again, I had 20 police officers that I'm in charge of, and I can't control what they do off duty. I mean, as much as I want to be responsible and hold everybody's hand, I can't. This happened on his off time. And a month later, I was subsequently put on administrative leave. So whether that has any connections, again, but that's the transparency of that, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah. And so when they put you on leave, they didn't tell you why?
They gave me 3 policy violations. They said overtime and compensation, grants, and recruitment and retention policy. That's how vague it was.
Okay.
So Mike, I guess my question is, in light of that, and this investigation is still open, do you believe that it's fair that we wait until that investigation is closed before we proceed here? Just so that it's transparent, it's clean, it's.
Obviously, in a personal matter, no, I'd like to get started of what I was hired to do by Mr. Stillwell and basically, the city. But I can't control what your vote is. I can just tell you that I have 35 years of law enforcement experience. I've never had a write-up in any of the agencies I was ever employed with. Again, I bring a culture to the cities that I've worked in, that people want to stay. Our department won't be a turnover department. We'll bring people here that are wanting to stay and make Walsenburg a great police department again. So I hope that answered your question, ma'am.
Well, I'd be in favor then. Mr. Tinklenberg hired him before he had a contract. Have him stay doing that until this is cleared up and then do the contract.
May I ask a question, please, Mr. Mayor, of Mr. Villani? Would that be okay?
State your name.
This is Cynthia Cresswell, CRESSWELL. Mr. Vanelli, you quoted the 2 things, or you said that they gave you 3 violations. And you also said that you cannot control your officers, what they do in off-duty time, which I am in full agreement of, sir. But what you did not mention is that the officer was under investigation for sexual harassment prior to you hiring him, and you felt that there was no reason to not hire him. That's verbatim in an Denver newspaper, and that was your statement that you made. So with that being said, if in your judgment you did not feel there was anything wrong with hiring somebody under investigation for sexual allegations, what can we expect from you in your judgment when you hire officers for Walsenburg? Because we already have problems in town.
Yes, and we do. And thanks for that question. And I don't know where you are, so I hope I'm looking at you. You can't always believe what you read from the newspapers. The internal affairs investigation that I received from the prior agency said that he was under an investigation. When I hired him, there was no investigation. He had resigned. It had taken somewhere around 12 or 14 months. He left employment. I filled out the proper paperwork with Post. I was not the only person that hired him. My former city manager sat on the interview panel. She was aware of everything, and both of us felt that he was a good fit for the town of Morrison at the time. And like I said, filling out the proper paperwork for Post, there was no, Post never pushed back on me hiring him for the town. And he was a stellar employee, even got promoted to a sergeant a year later with, other people, other police chiefs around the area sitting on his promotion board. So that's how good of an employee he was in that year's time frame before the promotion came up. So I had no indications that he would ever, or any of my officers would ever do anything in their off-duty time that would put a black mark on any police department.
Okay, this is the Denver Gazette that I'm looking at, and it says you yourself told the Courier that you were aware of the Broomfield investigation, but did not find anything in it that would preclude you from hiring him. And this was prior to the domestic violence. This was a sexual harassment investigation from Bloomfield Police Department, where he allegedly sent inappropriate and unwanted sexual messages to a coworker. So this is not believing in a newspaper. This was you involved in a direct interview with the newspaper. These were your words quoted. So that's why I'm saying, if you felt it was okay to hire somebody under investigation for sexual harassment, again, would your judgment change? Or if you were put in that same situation again, would you feel that it was okay to hire somebody that was under investigation for sexual harassment?
Again, man, he wasn't employed with Broomfield when I hired him. The investigation, the internal affairs investigation that I received from Broomfield had a lot of redactions. And again, I was the police chief, and I had to go by the information that my background investigator gave me. I had no indications from the background check that my investigator did and the redacted police report or redacted internal affairs investigation from Broomfield that he would not, or that he would be a bad employee for the town of Morrison.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Sorry.
Laura, Carmen, go ahead.
So I have a question.
He sounds like a piece of shit.
Do you have the equipment for the new police chief to be able to do his job? Do you have a cruiser for him to drive? Do you have a vest? Do you have,
Yes.
all that stuff? You do?
Want to answer that? Yes.
Okay.
The county's supplying us with a lot of that. We're gonna have to purchase some. Some of it's don't fit us.
Stuff that we gave them in 2016?
No, play cams and vests and all that stuff's brand new.
It's a fair question. Sorry, but that's a fair question.
We asked that question before.
Wow, there's lots of questions.
More than able to run around town. Those have some miles on them, but they went through them. They're in good shape. The other stuff for the officers are new, and the county is helping us out quite a bit until we get on our feet and get everything going.
How much is that
Oh
costing?
yeah, the sheriff's had it all stashed back for him.
Yeah,
Oh, that they're giving us all that. Well, we've been paying them 800, 900,000 a year. I mean, we should get something anyway, but they're not going to need it. So that is not costing us nothing.
And his office will stay here?
Yes. They offered an office over there, I believe, to to do the reporting, when you do a police report, there's a special program that costs quite a bit of money. We probably ain't gonna afford right away. We can do that
Good to
over
see you,
there.
Gary.
But then we'll have to pay for this camera storage.
Yes,
deal
that is him,
together.
Gary.
But that's what he's been working on since he's been here.
Good to see you.
And he actually come on board the second. So everybody knows.
So I guess my question is, why do you need to approve the contract since he's already been hired? I mean, I don't know if they will put you on.
Administrators can hire employees. Council has to approve contracts.
But as an employee, you shouldn't have a contract.
Right, that's, I'm looking confused on that too.
Not every employee has a contract.
Well, you shouldn't have a contract if you're an employee.
Right. That's what he is right now until we get a contract set up.
But if you're an employee, you shouldn't have a contract. You're an employee.
But
You too, brother.
Contract, I mean.
You can't give him a contract if he's gonna be an employee.
Correct.
I think what,
You need to decide if it's gonna be an employee or a contract.
If you're gonna be a contractor, you have a contract. If you're an employee, you're an employee. You don't have a contract.
I think
What
what,
are you working under right now? I really don't know.
Can I answer
Yeah,
that?
go ahead.
thank you.
Okay, so he's working under general employment.
Look at all those
staff.
hands up.
Hear about those things. I thought maybe anyway.
Can you mute?
Hello?
Whoever that is. Okay, go ahead, Joe.
So he is working under general employment as staff right now.
He's
Well, why-
staff right now.
go to a contract, I think is what everybody wants to
Correct,
kind of figure out here.
exactly. So
He's like security.
in administrative positions, in a lot of municipalities, it's protocol that your admins have a employment agreement with the, I wouldn't call it a contract, I would call it more of an employment agreement with the city.
Yeah, that's what this says here.
The job description, you haven't even.
No, we haven't even proved that.
We done that
He's
New Year's Eve.
no, this is
Police chief,
Walsenburg
too?
Top Tios.
Yeah.
He's like a marshal.
What?
I don't know. I have a life, so I was out on.
New Year's Eve, that's what we did.
That was approved.
No, that was for Harriman.
I thought it was just public works that was done that night.
We approved the police chief. That was Harriman, you're right.
That was just public works. That's what I thought.
Public Works on that night.
The police chief, job description sometime.
Correct. It was previous to that.
It wasn't approved. Yeah.
Well, of course that was too, but, we approved that, or you guys
What a
approved
shit
that.
show.
I think the meeting after Gay Davis stated we had to do that, move forward with, our grants.
Yeah.
She's working on.
I thought we just approved salary range. I don't remember actually approving a job description.
I know Roger worked half the night on getting a job description out.
I don't know.
We can look it up.
We'll have to go back and look that up, but I'm 99.
Have you seen a job description?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, so we do have one.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
We have one. The question is, did it get,
I thought we approved it. We can find out. If not, we can approve it.
Yeah.
and that's fine. I'm just saying, like, we need to get all these ducks in a row and
Roger and I worked till.
They jumped ahead everything. They
almost
just
10 o'clock
hired
that
him.
night on it.
Mr. Mayor, can I say one last thing unless you guys have more questions for me? I'm just gonna reiterate the fact that this was administrative leave for the town. of
He's on
Walsenburg.
administrative leave.
It doesn't
Sounds like a
exist
good
any
fit.
longer. And again, I just want everyone to be rest assured that this won't impact. I mean, I'm not bitter. I applied here. I want to bring my expertise to the city. I like Mr. Stillwell, I'm not local. I live in Canyon City, so I drive down here every day. I don't know any of the ins and outs. I mean, everybody can do research on the city. So I know a little bit about a little bit, but my expertise.
I wonder if he knows you
I've been
people
doing
are
it for
good
35
citizens.
years, and I want to bring the police department that I feel that people that I've already met here in this town for the last 4 days of walking around the streets deserve. And I know I can be that guy. And again, we won't be a stepping stone police department where 6 months I'll be telling you that we're having somebody go to Pueblo. I already have some ideas. I ran it by Mr. Stillwell.
Would you be relocating to Walsenburg?
Eventually, I have a son who's 18. He graduates in May and goes to the Army, and we'll move down here.
Mayor, this is Dee. May I ask a question, Mr. Vanelli, or a couple?
Sure.
So Mr. Vanelli, I apologize, but you said that there were several reasons. Could you restate those?
For what?
There were several reasons that you were put on administrative leave.
First one on the leave letter said overtime and compensation. which
Okay,
was
that's the one that I want to address. So, you're familiar with the budget, obviously.
Sorry, the heater just kicked on or whatever it was.
You're familiar with the budget and how a
Yes.
budget works.
Yes.
So what was the problem with overtime and what was the other word?
Compensation.
Compensation. So what were the issues there?
We had no overtime at Morrison. That is in our policy manual. What they were referring to when I spoke with the city manager up there is that we have 238 concerts a year at Red Rocks, and two of our officers would work that at night. I signed up like every other officer to be able to give my officers time off. It wasn't paid by the town of Morrison. Wasn't overtime in any way, shape, or form. It was paid by the city of Denver because it's a Denver park. And my predecessors, going back years, did the same thing that I did. So that was I had been doing that for 3 years or 2 years and 10 months for my employment there, and was never talked to about me not being able to do it as a salaried employee. So that was what that was about.
Okay, but so when you were hired on, you knew about that requirement, correct?
No, I was told I could work it like everyone else. All my command staff, we all worked concerts. We signed up and we worked concerts.
And you knew what your budget,
It didn't come out of my budget, man.
It was paid by
so
city.
why was there a concern then?
I can't answer that question. I don't know.
That's curious. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So the overtime and compensation wasn't for your police department. It was for this outside,
Extra duty, which every cop across the country works.
but you did that for the 2-year, 10 months
I did.
that you worked there,
I
and it was never an issue.
worked 60 concerts a year for the 2 years I was there, and never was an issue.
Can I say something, Nick? We had officers from Walsenburg doing the state fair several times. Because I went to the state fair and they had officers from all over Colorado working,
I mean, I don't think it's
including our two.
normal. I mean, no.
Yeah, I think there's grasping at straws, sounds to me like, and he said, well, he's salaried. So anything he makes you come to us, I guess. I don't know. That's the only thing I could see, but how can they're gonna lose if they went that many years and that has been their protocol.
So I'm gonna address something that I kind of looked at. So, and I've heard from people who live in Denver that the joke is if you went into Morrison to have dinner, that you left there with a stiff parking fine, traffic ticket, something like that. That one of the articles I read is that the town of Morrison's police department brought in almost over $500,000 in 2024. How do you address that?
I tell you that we have 10,000 transient visitors a night to go to a Red Rock show, 7 months of the year. And we had a lot of speeders. That I had many town hall meetings from the time I got there until I was ready to leave, not knowing I was leaving. But the major concern for the residents was the speed down Bear Creek Avenue, which was the main street. And we wrote traffic tickets, just like every other law enforcement agency.
Right.
We didn't target that. That was not our goal.
I mean, you can't target speeders if they're speeding. I mean, they're speeding, right? Did you have any of like what are they, like the cameras and stuff that issue the tickets, or like, what are they called?
Radar cams.
Yeah, like the traffic cams and things like that. Did you have those kind of things?
We did get one, and we were the pilot program, and it deployed in May of this year. We were the first municipality after the governor signed it last year to have a traffic cam. It's an automated basic 10 miles an hour over, and we did.
And do you think that that's a good way to control traffic? We've had no traffic control here. That's where I'm leading with this question. Like, you have the experience with that. Do you think that that is good? I mean, we're at the crossroads of major highways.
We are here, and I have been out, like I said, I've walked the streets for the last 4 days, either to go to lunch. I usually don't take my car, just walk. And I have seen the speeding issue, the traffic safety issue, as I called it in Morrison. We did go to that traffic camera. It generated 44,000 automated tickets in the first 6 months of deployment. Now, not all of those were paid, because you can only charge $40 under this new state law. But the traffic safety issue went down, speeding went down 30% from May to October, when they decided to discontinue the program, because, I mean, the third-party vendor to process it was, it was expensive. But it did go down, it did decrease at night and during the day by 30%. And there's all these articles that people are saying that are bad about my being on administrative leave. There's 14 other news interviews that I did saying that if 25 is 25, and that's what our speed limit was. And if you go 10 over the speed limit, you're going to get a ticket in the mail. Officers can't be everywhere. So all the negative on some of these, I have 14 other news articles or news things that are positive for the town of Morrison.
And I mean, I don't think that's negative. I mean, I think it's traffic control, and it's something we have not had in a long time. I mean, I live on just a residential street, and it's like a racetrack.
I've talked to some of the fire guys today that are also city employees. They tell me the same thing. They tell me that there is a problem here. That's the kind of stuff that I want to bring to this city of my expertise. I don't know what else to say. Other than I promoted a culture that my cops drove from Pueblo and Florence every day, 4 days a week, to work for me. Not because the pay was great, and not because anything else was great, and not because of the pleasure of working in the town of Morrison. It was because of the culture that I had at the police department.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Every good leader develops people underneath them. What is your strategy for, bringing up your guys?
You're right. I use that term. I'm always developing my successor. I have a young, he's going to come over here if this goes through. I'm going to bring him on as a lieutenant, my second in charge. I think he's an up and coming. He's smart. He would be great he knows the city. He's, I just don't want to, divulge his name. But he knows the city. He knows how to be around here. He knows the people. He knows how to lead. He knows how to talk to people. He knows the administrative side of it, and he still likes getting out there and being a cop's cop as an administrator. So if he is one of those people that goes to a bigger agency, I'm hoping that the 4 officers that I'm allowed to hire, approved by the budget, that one of those will also take the bull by the horns and be that natural leader out on the street that other officers can go to. I also have a plan, sir, that I don't really want to bring anybody here that doesn't have at least 5 years of police experience, so that we're not bringing on a young person. Not that young people are bad, but their habits are formed. They're well-versed in speaking to people, and they can be the face of Walsenburg when I'm not here.
You said the second item was grants.
Correct.
Elaborate on the grants thing.
The only thing that I can ascertain from it is I wrote click it or ticket and DUI grants for the town of Morrison. As I stated earlier, we had 238 concerts. Officers were burnt out. Sometimes I would work the DUI grant or the click it or ticket grant to work with my night guys that I didn't get to see, paid by the state. There's about this much in our Morrison Police Manual of grants and then the city, I honestly don't know why that's in there, because there's 10 other police chiefs of the state that I know personally that work the same grants that I did. So, and once again, it wasn't paid out of the town's budget. It was paid by the state and or the town paid and was reimbursed by the state.
A lot of things that I hear are in our city is that they can write all the tickets they want, but if the DA won't move forward, then they can't, we can't enforce anything. What was your recommendation on that?
Not go to the DA, have it municipally. Ordinances or had, we adopted ordinances where our municipal judge started taking expired driver's canceled, denied and revoked driver's license. We wrote them municipally that the city benefited from the revenue, because you're right. I mean, I could stop you hypothetically 3 different times knowing that you have a revoked driver's license, send it to the county every time. And if they're bogged down with cases, it probably doesn't get prosecuted. So I wrote everything. I adopted ordinances and had the judge sign off on some fine schedules that everything that we could, that's not jailable, would come to the city for the revenue. And I know it sounds bad when you think about revenue, but if I have to buy my license plates and you have to buy your license plates, why doesn't everybody else? And why would, if you're driving through our city, why shouldn't the city benefit from a traffic ticket of $140 for not renewing your driver's license or your license plates? That's how I corrected that, not corrected it, but that's how I went about it in Morrison. And our judge was fine with it.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
So I just have a follow-up to one of the comments that you made about bringing people on with experience. I appreciate that. We had a local resident who wrote a grant for basically some, new cadets coming out and, to bring them on. What is your feel on bringing new cadets in and incorporating them into,
I think as we grow, that would, but Mr. Stillwell and I've had many conversations in the 4 days and even before that. If we bring on, if I hire somebody, we'll just use you, for example, because you and I are speaking. If I hire you fresh ready to go to the academy, I bring you on, we pay yourself or however it goes. I can't have you for 6 months. So we're using a police officer spot with you being at the Pueblo Academy or whatever academy you go to. And we're working short of the complement that we're allotted because I hired a brand new person. Now, as we grow, I'm all about that. Once we get our streets covered here, I'm all about bringing new recruits out of the academy or finding somebody that wants to apply. We do their background check and send them to the academy if that's how the grant is written. But I just feel that with this starting up, we need to have cops on the street so that the residents of Walsenburg have police services sooner rather than later.
and what's your thoughts on the agreement that we have with the county that we still have their coverage until we're fully staffed?
I don't think you can have a municipality. We had the same agreement with the town of Madison and Jefferson County. We only policed until 2 a.m. We had 2 shifts. We had a 6 to 4 shift and a 4 to 2 with a supervisor in the middle. At 2 a.m., the county took over for the next 4 hours. I don't believe that you can have a municipality effectively police or a law enforcement entity in a municipality without the aid of the county, because they're really their only backup, and the city as well as any city cop because it is part of their county. So I applaud the agreement that you guys have with them.
I mean, do you think that that's something that we need to look into more permanently, kind of what like you just described, where the police departments have covering those core hours and they're just kind of like those in the night backup?
That would be, I guess that would be a you guys question, because it's all going to come down to a budget. I tried to get, for the 2 years I was there at Morrison, I tried to get 24/7 coverage. I came up with 12-hour shifts, 10-hour shifts, adding a couple more. It would come down to budgetary, as everybody can read about Morrison closing down the police department again. And it was publicly stated about budgetary issues. I'm all about policing 24 hours a day, knowing that the cops that I supervise are out here protecting the citizens that I know. But the county is not a bad option. We could only go, if we hired only 4 now, we would have to rely on the county, or you guys would have to get an agreement with the county for the 2 to 6. Anyway, because we would have if we did that. With 4 officers being hired and myself and a supervisor, no conceivable way of doing 24/7.
Well, we have a phase out contract with them now.
I understand that. So.
Yeah, and the county's gonna have the same problem. Because they're losing our money, so they're gonna have a hard time covering 24/7. So I've said all along, I think we gotta somehow work together to.
Absolutely. And I mean, I've only met the sheriff over there a couple times, but we've had 2-hour-long conversations in the last 4 days that I've been here. And he seems very receptive to helping us in any way that we would need help.
How did Jefferson County get away with, how they taken over for the police department now then? In Morrison?
I can't answer that, sir. I don't know what their agreement is like. It's kind of out of the loop.
That's a question I've gotten, because we're having to go to police department, sounds like. So how does Morrison?
They're probably paying the county to do it.
Yeah.
And I know that they deputize their officers to be deputies, so I'm sure the town of Morrison's paying them.
I think somewhere. I would predict they come back around to the other, wanting a police force back.
Probably.
Is there anything else anybody wants to add?
I guess I just want to know like how we move forward on this. I would just feel so much better if this administrative leave investigation was kind of just a done deal. And,
And I can speak to that, ma'am. The advice of my counsel, I have an employment attorney. They've seen these things. I mean, there's no entity to be investigating me.
Right.
The statements that they've made about the investigation continues. My attorney has told me you can't be investigated by something that doesn't exist. So there could never be an end. And so that's kind of, I mean, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but Mr. Stillwell and the mayor were on the conference call today, my employment attorney, and they kind of heard everything so I'm not saying anything that wasn't that he put out there publicly, correct?
Correct.
I'd like to hear a motion that says he continues as he is and put a maximum of 2 to 4 weeks on it. If that case is just hanging there, just call it done.
Can I say something to that?
Sure, go ahead.
Just to put everybody's mind, maybe another avenue to put everybody's mind at rest. I'm a big accountability person, and I will hold staff accountable. And, myself included.
I mean, I think we have a lot of administrative pieces that still need to be put in place too. So, I mean, I definitely feel that, I think we're gonna get there. I mean, and I think we keep pressuring Morrison, this isn't fair that, either do your investigation or end it, and eventually they're gonna have to do something.
I've spoke with their administrator, Mallory Nassau, and she just said, I can't talk about it. I can't talk about it. I mean, you can't find out nothing.
I know, but I bet if you call them every day, I'll call them every day.
Right? Numbers on their website.
I'm just saying,
I actually got it on my phone. I'll text it to you.
if you have an investigation, do your investigation. Law enforcement officers are hard to find these days. And when you find one, you find someone who's ready to take on a project we have a lot of work to do. Well, not me, but we.
You have people on Zoom with questions.
Yeah, I'd like to ask one too, if I could, please.
My question's for Mr. Hyatt. If he's already hired Mr. Hyatt, do we need this employment agreement?
No, I was asked to draft the employment agreement. It's unusual in the city of Walsenburg. Typically, the only people that have agreements are the administrators. So Mr. Rogers said that that's what he wanted, and so that's why I drafted it.
Okay, I got a question then. Do you recall doing a job description? Or do we have one?
No, I don't draft job descriptions for the city.
No, he got that from that other outfit. Okay,
We haven't seen any of those job descriptions.
I think we've done, you said you've seen a chief of police one.
That's the only reason I do.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's exhibit A, I think, or
Is it
something
there?
on the agreement. And so are we paying the sheriff this month?
It's gonna be a gradual.
Yeah, we have to.
It's an amortization program.
As we-
We got a police chief that's supposed to drop it by $22,000.
Gonna drop it.
Next month or this month?
It's gonna work out as we incur expenses in January, they're gonna be subtracted for their payment for January.
That's not the way the agreement reads.
It's gonna be prorated. That was the agreement we made with the county.
But we have a police chief, so do we still have to pay for his portion of the contract? Is what I'm asking, or will that? Does it have to wait a month? It gets hired.
No, we're gonna subtract it to make it one for one.
$22,000 for hiring a chief of police.
Whatever his pay is and what we spent is gonna get subtracted from their payment.
You didn't read the contract. You need to go read that contract, Mayor.
What's your question, ma'am?
Are you paying the city, I mean, the county, being that we now have a chief of police? Because when we have a chief of police, it's supposed to go down by, I think it is $22,000 when we have a police chief. Every time we have an officer, it goes down by a certain rate. That's what the agreement says. My question is, since we have a chief of police, are you going to pay the county that extra $22,000? Or is it effective a month after you hire the city or the chief of police? In the
Mayor.
contract, but I can't remember what it's.
Mr. Hyde, go ahead.
Mayor, can I say something? Number one, the city has to abide by the agreement that it executed with the county. So whatever the terms of that agreement are, you're bound by that. Second, Mr. Vanelli, did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Vanelli, do you want the contract? Because normally, the chief of police in the past have never had a contract with the city. They always acted underneath the personnel manual. And as a matter of fact, that's what this contract says, is that you're bound by the terms of the personnel manual. So are you willing to work without a written agreement, just as any other employee is?
You go to that, sir.
Yeah, I'm.
Yes, then, yes, sir.
I think it sounds.
Then if you're willing to work without the agreement, the city administration has already hired you. That's their decision. And this is, it's not necessary to approve a contract, and I don't think the council should move forward with the contract. Mr. Vanelli is not asking for it. I'm not sure why Roger wanted it. But we don't go through this exercise with any other employee, except for the administrators.
We have 6 people on Zoom.
All right, I'm good with that. Any comments on them comments first?
All that to get to this, huh?
Just a request, Mayor.
I have a comment.
It is. AC, go ahead.
Yes, sir. So I'm going to pull back my no and say, okay. And I agree with Mr. Hyatt that if we're under a standard W-2, we don't need to worry about this contract for employment. And I'm looking forward to us getting our own little speed radar set up to build up our, revenue stream in our city. I'm just saying, let's get that going.
Okay.
You could put that on Kansas. I'm just saying.
Next.
All agree.
What else you got? Mark? Mark, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Oh,
I
did you have your
have
hand
a
up?
question. Yes, I have a couple of questions. First for Mr. Vanelli. Can you speak to the circumstances under which you left the Florence Police Department?
And I was offered the police chief's job in Morrison, and I resigned at a council meeting publicly because I didn't believe that the chief of police at the time was. I mean, I don't know how to say it. I mean, I did 7.5 years at the Florence Police Department. I went from a patrol officer to a sergeant to the deputy chief in about 2.5 months. I had a great relationship with the chief at the time. Some things happened with the former city manager there. I didn't agree with some of the comments that were made. I had an offer from Morrison and I resigned in a public meeting, to voice my displeasure with the way that, some of the administration things were being handled. It was nothing personal, nothing detrimental. I gave 7.5 years. You can go back and listen to my council remarks. Teared up as anybody would, leaving a city that, basically I was, I was a soccer coach at Florence High School for 10 years. So it was a bittersweet meeting, but I couldn't, I had to do what was right for me and my morals.
Right. The Canyon Courier quoted an article after that meeting that you felt frozen out of the department prior to your departure during that week or so tenure between your resignation letter and your departure. Was that a part of a political animosity that had developed between you and the department, or you and the administration?
I really don't have any animosity towards anybody. I'm a see something, say something type of guy. Originally from New York, so I'm very blunt and straightforward. And sometimes people don't like that. I can't control how people feel when I say things, but I also try to use my filter when I have to. But my morals and my ethics didn't allow me to stay there when I had a great opportunity with the town of Morrison to rebuild their department.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. And Mr. Stillwell, just one last question. And this hire occurred January 2nd. Can you speak to the recruitment process, which has been, to my knowledge, opaque to get to this point and actually have a police chief hired? And it seems as though some members of council just realized tonight that he was hired. Can you tell us, can you give us a little background on what the process was to get to this point and to hire Mr. Benelli?
Yes, so we interviewed 3 candidates back in December. Of the 3, Mr. Benelli stood out due to his skill set in building a police department from scratch. Mr. Tinklenberg then extended an offer letter to him based on the job description. And it went forward from there.
Okay. Tell me, in his pay band as an employee of the city, does that mirror or match the $105,000 per year that is reflected in the contract? Or is it more or less?
No, it's the 105 a year.
Okay, thank you. One last thing. No, never mind. I'm sorry, I've taken up enough time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Blair.
Blair.
Hi, my name's Blair Stutzman. Mr. Benelli, I have a couple things to ask. First of all, I'd like to thank you for your service and your dedication. I know how hard your job is. It's not easy, and for 35 years, if I heard correct, I would think you'd have a lot more blemishes on your record, and maybe you wouldn't have made it as far as you did. The police departments have taken a lot of hits all across this country lately. Police is good, they're bad, it's like everywhere else. I have a question. From what I understand, you did not know about this officer's past, and would you hire someone like that if you knew anything about it? And then I'd like to remind the city that a police department is like a school. You don't send your kids to school to get taught by your teachers. And the police department can't teach your citizens. We're all in this together, and they're not a cure-all. He's a police officer, So I think everybody in the city has to work together. There's a lot of people who knows who crime does, whatever. I live in Maryland. We have a lot of speed cameras, and we have all kinds of stuff. It's been here for years. I think that's a good idea. And, I just hope everything works out and you guys either keep it or don't. But, it's funny that everybody's dropping police officers, police departments, bringing them back, bringing them off, bringing them on. And so, yeah, I wish you well. And yeah, if anything happens, just think you guys can fire him. And I don't know what would happen after that, So anyway, yeah, that's the only question I had. Did you know anything about his past, and would you hire someone like that?
I only knew what my integrity interview with him was, and I only knew what the redacted internal affairs report that my investigator received from Broomfield. If you're asking me, knowing what I know, what that happened on October 4th, would I hire somebody like that? No. Knowing only what I knew in the past, when I hired him the first time, yes, I stood by my decision and I made it publicly clear that I can't predict what somebody's going to do 2 years later, and I stand by that. The decision I made initially, with the help of my city manager at the time, of hiring him.
And I agree 100%. Like I said, you're a human being, and you got a very hard job. So I wish you well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brian.
Brian Lalander. Brian.
Yeah, Mr. Vanelli, I unlike these other people, I don't care what happened in Florence. I don't care what happened in Morrison. I don't care how you became mayor of Walsenburg. But could you tell us a little bit with your experience of how you form with formation and your mentions of using the municipal court and staffing, what your vision would be of where we would be at certain milestones, say 1 year, 2 years, 3 years from now with the budget that you have to work with?
Sure. In 1 year, my vision, and Mr. Stillwell and I have talked about this extensively, my vision is to have my supervisor, my 4 officers hired that basically the city has allocated, and be on the street. I did make the comment that in my interview that I figured I could have this department staff, if everything went smoothly, within 90 days of people that have 5 years or more experience, getting to know the town, the city. Our biggest thing is going to be the geography of having new cops come down here and learning the city streets and here and there. My biggest, as an administrator, is going to be meeting with the municipal court judge, the city prosecutor, to see if they'll even entertain the fact of writing all this stuff in a municipal court. It makes for a bigger docket. I have not got into the weeds yet with the city administrator or the council about what the judge is paid, what days we have court. I've only been here, this is my 4th day. But these are all things that in the next 30 days that I planned on getting done. Meeting with everybody, the dispatch manager, for our radio channel, things like that. In a year, I planned on, our goal would be, we would be policing the city streets of Walsenburg, 2 shifts, 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. or 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. With hopefully some county coverage for those other 4 hours. And that's just things that I'm just spitballing off the top of my head in a conversation with you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Who?
Mr. Lujan.
Okay.
Manuel Lujan, Lujan. I just wanted to say, after hearing Mr. Vanelli speak and answer all of the questions from the public and the council, I would like to rescind my previous comment regarding this agenda item. I am very satisfied with all of the responses that he has given to all of the in-depth questions, and welcome and thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Manuel.
So we don't have a city prosecutor?
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Mr. Hyatt.
Mr. Hyatt, necessary.
We might need one, but I'm just, I'm not out there.
And that's another thing I wasn't aware of, so.
No.
Yeah.
Carolyn Robb.
Carolyn.
I can, yeah.
Carolyn, are you still there? All right, BAADT.
This is Cynthia Cresswell one more time. Thank you, Mr. Vanelli, for your patience, for answering a barrage of questions. That's appreciated. You seem to be very forthcoming. In regards to the traffic cams, I just want to bring to the council's attention that generally, if they operate the same way they did in California, you have to pay an organization to monitor them for you and send out the tickets. So that would be an additional cost that will be added to our budget that's currently not included in the budget. I guess I will remove my no because it's a moot point since the contract doesn't need to be approved and he's already hired. So, but again, thank you for your patience, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't believe council would entertain any idea of something that would lose money. If those cameras do not net a profit, there's no sense in doing it. So.
Oh, they net a profit. Yeah, you do have to have, but my opinion is they do. Yeah, go ahead.
I just need traffic control.
Yeah. Okay.
So my only other issue is this job description thing. I honestly do not remember it coming across here. We talked about salary, we talked about posting the job, but we did not talk about approving a job description. So I want to make sure that
Okay.
is done, was done, and that we get that done.
If not, we can get it done next
Yeah.
week.
Next meeting, special meeting, whatever it takes.
I believe Mr. Tinklenberg was going to work on it.
Exactly.
At the end of one of the meetings, and he was going to make some adjustments to the verbiage and bring it back to council for their approval.
I'm trying to find it, so.
I definitely signed one.
I believe it's there, but it didn't go through the process of being
Might not
approved.
approve, which, let's find out if we did or not, and then next meeting, we could approve it or tinker with it, whatever. we want.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, even whatever we need to do, I mean, we just need to keep moving forward.
Sure. We'll take two more.
Robert Ellsworth? Robert?
Robert Ellsworth? I don't think you have a speaker there, do you?
I was speaking, but I swear I was unmuted, so I'll start over. All right, Ellsworth, ELLSWORTH. And good evening, everybody, and welcome to our potential new chief of police. One of the things I would like to see is if you could possibly set up council to have the new chief show up once a month and give a verbal report to city council for all the citizens so that there is interaction and we know what the heck is happening. I've attended other cities council meetings and I've watched and they've always had law enforcement represented giving reports. That would be awesome. And I agree with just like everybody else, the traffic, the speeding, but I also noticed that it's the 18-wheelers on 7th Street. When my building did have glass, you could hear the glass rattling as they would go by. So the train was nothing compared to what the 18-wheelers are doing. That's it. I appreciate it and welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Finally, Carolyn Robb's back on.
Carolyn Robb?
Hi there, guys. I'm here. Thank you. Caroline Robb, Caroline, Robb, ROBB. I have a question related to Chief Finelli, and welcome, sir. Thank you for being here. If we're going to be hiring them for shifts, will they be permitted to also work for the sheriff's department?
You mean like be employed with them?
Yes, take shifts with them in addition to the city?
No, I don't think so.
Pardon?
I would think it's legal.
That doesn't make sense.
I wouldn't be okay with my office.
I don't think it's legal.
And
You can't cross municipal with
not
county.
be good with posts. So, if they were employed by the city, I would expect them to work for our police department.
Okay, and then the other thing I wanted to mention, just my opinion, if we're gonna be paying the sheriff's department, considering the kind of work that they haven't done in the past, if we're gonna pay them anything, just pay them for the time that they're gonna be on duty for us in absence of our city police. That's
We
just my
already have-
suggestion.
We already have a contract in place.
Yeah, Veronica and I negotiated a contract with Mr. Tinklenberg and Joe. That's already done for 25, so.
Well, I'd
That's
also like to say that Joe, I've heard good things about you since you've been here. I have high hopes for Walsenburg. And I hope that things get turned around. We've got you, we've got our police chief. And I'm very happy to see how things are going to transpire. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Nick's got the floor.
Welcome aboard, chief.
That's it?
Yes.
Thank you for taking all of our questions. Absolutely appreciate it.
You did a great.
Gary, it was November 19th and all we approved was salary.
Okay, so I don't think we can approve it tonight because it wasn't on the
Neither.
agenda. We'll approve it next week. Just get it on the next. Get it on there. Yep. Okay, we got a few items left, so thank you, everyone. Welcome, Mr. Nelly. Number 8, approval resolution 2025-R1.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2025-R1, a resolution establishing public notice provisions for the city of Walsenburg's public meetings and providing the schedule of regular public meetings for the calendar year 2025.
Second.
I got a motion by Don Martinez, a second by Nick Vihil. This basically, the first of the year says how we advertise for our meetings. And that's going to be for all the meetings that we conduct, includes planning and zoning, utility commission, URA, whatever we have. So that it just, this is kind of formality to have a resolution, how we're going to post our meetings, give public notice. Any comments? Roll call.
Excuse me.
Not you sleeping
Mayor Gary Casoni.
here. Yes.
Veronica May.
Yes.
Ronald Stafford.
Yes.
Nick Miho.
Yes.
Fred Ecker.
Yes.
Don Martinez.
Yes.
Ricky Jennings.
Yes.
Carries. Okay. Number 9.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2025-R2, resolution designating the city of Walsenburg's legal newspaper for the calendar year of 2025.
Second.
I got a motion by Don Martinez, a second by Nick Vihil. It is establishing the World Journal as our yearly paper. Any comments?
That's the only newspaper.
I know it.
What's gonna be?
Yeah. Roll call.
Mayor
I'm glad they
Rosati.
said
Yes.
Veronica May.
Yes.
Ronald Stafford.
They said it.
Nick Miho.
Yes.
Fred Ecker.
Yes.
Don Martinez.
Yes.
Rick Jennings.
Yes.
Motion carried. I believe we have to eliminate 10 and 10A because we do not have the numbers yet. We've got to get them to PUC and go through the proper channels. We don't have that yet. So that will be tabled till next meeting.
Table it.
Uh,
I agree, Tapatios.
I don't think so.
Table it.
Hmm?
Look at everybody brown nosing.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Everybody's good with it?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 11.
That's the World Journal. Let's
Mr.
get
Lyon,
your
do we need a
picture.
motion to table the reading.
Let him get his picture for the
1193s.
paper.
Means we don't have the gas rates yet.
Can't hear you.
We can't
What
hear.
what I would suggest, since it's on the agenda, is that you have a motion to postpone it until the next meeting.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to postpone the introduction of ordinance 1193 first reading and the approval of ordinance 1193 first reading until the next meeting.
I got a motion by Don Martinez, the
Table it.
second by Nick Vihil. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Table it.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Okay, now we got number 11.
Can I ask a quick question about 11? So when those rates come, are they coming from that study that was done or where are those numbers coming from?
I believe it's a PUC, Public Utilities Commission. We're not allowed to charge more than we pay.
No, I understand the supply piece, but those other charges. There's 3 different ones on there and
Yeah.
the supply is the only one that's regulated by PUC, but the other 2, where are those coming from? Are they coming from the study that was done? Are we making them up? Or
I think
you know?
council would have raised that 6%.
Okay.
Remember.
Okay, well, there was several options. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
The other 2 rates.
6%. They, They had
That's how
8% in
you
the
learn,
budget,
you
and
ask
if you recall,
questions.
we had the last budget hearing. We told them the council agreed to 6%, and I think that's what's been put in the budget now is 6%. So that will be
Okay.
added to the two fees, and then the supply charge, whatever it is, whatever we
Got
pay
it.
for.
Thank you.
Okay.
And it was from that study. That's what I wanted to. Thank you.
Number 11. Approval of Taylor Fence to do the fence around this place.
It's a lot of money.
I'll make a motion for.
Okay.
Motion,
I got a motion by Nick.
Sorry.
yeah. I'll make a motion for approval of Jergens Inc. DBA Taylor Fence Company of Pueblo for
Hey, thanks for stopping.
21,645.
21,645.
Stay safe, bro.
I got a motion by Nick Vihil,
Second.
second by Ronald Stafford.
Nice
Discussion?
Tapatios.
I think we're tired of getting stuff stolen out of the yard and in the buildings. People go there and steal all our stuff.
Not to mention the liability if a kid gets
Yeah.
a shabby fence that's there now.
So what's the, like, I don't know what you'd say, like where's this fence at? Where's it going? Like, what all is it gonna surround?
Everything.
New city shop at the new 235 West Fifth Street that would be demoed. This project's been going on since May of 2024. So we agreed to postpone it to see if we can get federal money for the demo. This was approved in the budget. And with the approval of the destruction 880 Highway 10 resident and the 235 project. And on the other side of it, if we're in violation of our insurance company and also code.
Correct.
We can't issue a ticket if our fence is falling down with citizens, fence falling down with the city. So that's the approach we took.
I agree.
And we only got one quote?
3 other vendors never responded.
Thank you.
Exhaustion Powers, we got Taylor Fence.
8 feet high, correct.
It'll be 6 foot high with 1 foot 3-strand barbed wire across the top.
7 feet, excuse me.
So on the agenda, it says removal and replacement, but Taylor Fence isn't actually doing the removal. Apparently we are.
That lowered price we're gonna do.
So the 21,000 is a lowered price because we're doing the removal and the grading.
Now we have equipment sitting right there. It'd be crazy.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's more to it than just doing the fence. And if I recall, how much did it cost to take care of that building? Do you know? Remember?
Too much.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the budget was 50 for those, or it was split 50 between,
$21,000 just on the abatement.
I know, hate that.
You gotta do it.
I know. All right, I mean, I know it was in the budget. It may go over budget. I don't remember what the,
Sorry, what was in 2024's budget was 40,000
total. It was split between,
for the fence, 3 different departments.
for the total 40, just for the fence?
Just for
Oh,
the fencing
all
project.
right. So the building, tearing down the building stuff was separate? Okay. Okay, any other comments? I got a motion a second. Roll call.
Mayor Nazani,
Yes.
Monica Mays,
Yes.
Ronald Stafford,
Yes.
Nick Vigo.
Yes.
Dan Martinez,
Yes.
Rick Jennings.
Yes.
Okay, mayor and council comments, getting late, I don't have anything. I'd like to welcome the chief. I think he fits Walsenburg. He's kind of one of us, so to speak.
All right, Joe is gonna give me the honor to do this for him. What number?
Police. I don't know what,
Police,
I've
what
not
number?
got my glasses on, so I can't see from here.
I don't see the police. Help me find it.
It might be behind.
22, sir. That's contract. That's close enough.
Mayor Mazzani, real quick, may I put a suggestion out there for you? If the fence that you're removing around the city maintenance shop is reusable, salvageable, and we're still paying for the fence around the burned out convalescent home hospital? Can we use that fence to put around that building so that we don't have to pay for the fencing any longer? Would that be feasible?
We finally bought the fencing that goes around the old nursing home.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you.
We are going to put a lien. That's good. We got to go through that process. We can't just.
I was gonna say, I thought we.
Yeah.
Well, that was with the county's last meeting, correct, with the tax liens?
I'm not sure where that's at, but we have a right to put a lien on what it costs to take care of that.
Right.
So we need to look into making sure that's done. The only other thing is I'd like to see a report next meeting on what's happening with Martra sale. I know we got some correspondence on trying to sell it, but I'd like to find out what's going on there.
I would love to cross that one off the list.
Yeah.
I would too.
One thing, and Joe, I know you have like 8,000,000 things going on, but those job descriptions and those salary, I don't know whatever happened with those. I mean, we've never seen those, and I mean, that was a big one that
Shannon and I are still
working
with those folks on that.
Okay.
We're hopefully within next meeting or the next having.
I mean, it just seems like we're like pulling out little ones at a time. It's like, where are they all? So that's all. I would just like to see this, but thank you, welcome.
Thank you, guys.
I'm very excited for what you've done and we're on our way. So thank you. Happy New Year.
It's a good start.
Thank you, Mr. Vanelli, for taking this on. Any other comments on city council comments?
I'd like to welcome our new police chief. I'd like to commend Mr. Stillwell on the progress he's making. And the ceiling in the council chambers prepared.
I couldn't stand it.
Oh, well. Thank you.
I think that was gonna be next on the list, but we didn't have enough paper.
Yeah, well.
It's the little things.
It is. I feel so much better.
And for everyone's information, I think temporarily, we're gonna fit the police department right here.
Correct.
Probably the second in command will be facing that window. I think that's gonna be a good visual for people coming in and want to cuss all the girls. I mean, I'm sure they're getting tired of getting cussed out, so I think that's gonna look good.
That sounds like a deterrent.
It's gonna be, we'll deal with it down the road.
Yeah, we will.
One step at a time, so I don't have anything else. Anybody else?
Nope.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
What beats you?
Second motion, second in favor.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Meeting adjourned. Made it well.
Meeting is adjourned.
Well, that went from. Everybody wants us to. Oh, worth having him.
This is your son.
All right. So what do you guys think of that?
I think you boys are gonna be busy.
You think he's gonna be busy? Writing all those traffic tickets, huh?
Well, he
Yeah,
may
I
write,
mean-
but I can guarantee there's gonna be two people with cameras behind them.
Well, yeah, I mean, it sounds like they're gonna bring in a whole bunch of people from around Colorado. And he's right. Morrison did disband. So who's really investigating him? That's the question there, is who's investigating him now. But it seems to be a trend as well for officers who are, going to be or are underneath investigation to resign and go to different departments. I mean, we all know about that, right, Johnson? Right. Johnson knows about that.
Apple.
And Apple knows about. I mean, there's a whole bunch of people that know about that. I mean, hell, look at Trulio. He's got a misdemeanor coming. No, I'm sorry. He got a misdemeanor for tasing a guy in the face. That's it. Just a misdemeanor. Didn't get anything else.
It was only 36 times. He didn't do it enough.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what to tell you on that. And then on top of it, him beating up the little kid too. Like, but I mean, I guess this is what Southern Colorado has to offer. So I guess this is what the people have to accept. I don't know, but it's kind of crazy.
We don't know. That 15-year-old could have had it coming.
Well, I mean, he did pass him kind of fast on that mini bike. I mean, you can't pass a cop. You know that, right? Even off duty, you can't pass a cop.
I keep forgetting the rules.
Or else.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It seems kind of crazy. I mean, they seem pretty complacent with it, but then again, as GCM mentioned earlier, it is kind of hard to get police chiefs around here. So I mean, at least good ones. But he is looking at, what was that, John?
If things go south, all they have to do is say, "I'm sorry." They're good. Works for Aguilar.
Yeah, that's right. Right? That works. It works for Aguilar. Just say you're sorry and everything goes away. But he is going to be working on that revenue generation. Look out. He's working on that revenue generation. Maybe they'll actually do something with the revenue. Like open the water park or something.
Oh, they'll do something with it. No doubt about that.
No doubt about that. They'll definitely do something with it.
Pools, anyone?
Well, I mean, let's just hope it's not like, where Rapo ends up like keeping a briefcase of drugs, evidence underneath of his desk and forgetting to send it off to get tested. I mean, let's just hope there's a little bit more competency in the new police force than there has been with the sheriff's department. I mean, with all the, tampering of evidence charges and whatnot and so forth.
Oh, man. Yeah. Sounds like he's going to fit right in. So.
I agree.
He's one of them.
Of at least, I think, 4 cops right now, or 4 sheriff's deputies right now that I can think of off the top of my head that are Brady's list candidates. I mean, that's just the top 4 that I can think of.
The Brady list is like qualified immunity out here. It doesn't exist, but they still get away with all their BS.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, qualified immunity supposedly doesn't exist in Colorado on the state level. They always claim it in the federal level. Always.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately. But they'd never unless you're up north, like Denver, where lawyers will actually take cases and whatnot and so forth, and they're not so scared of the people in Southern Colorado. I don't know what it is, but yeah. Seriously, things need to change down here in Southern Colorado. It's kind of crazy down here in Southern Colorado as far as, it doesn't even really reach the federal level down here because it doesn't really reach the state level either, because the state level pretty much says cops are okay and they can do no wrong down here, apparently. I mean, you gotta really catch them on camera to actually get anything out of it.
Yeah, if you catch them on camera, you can catch them on camera.
Picture this. You're strolling through the city, stopping occasionally to take some stunning shots. You compose the shot, the city buzzes around you, and you capture the moment. You're not just taking pictures, you're preserving memories, immortalizing moments in time. So, what are you waiting for? Unleash your creativity and dive into the world of photography.
Oh man. Dive into it. Dive into
Let
that.
those cameras roll. You know,
I'm kind of hoping, I saw a lot more. Topatios brought this up earlier. He said that there was a lot more talking by the people than in Aguilar. He really liked the meeting because there was a lot more interaction by the people. I kind of agree with him on that one. I think that the people were grilling him a little bit, but in the end, I still think that, he shouldn't have been hired. Again, like the way that the city council has gone about it, in case you're just joining us, that they hired this guy as an employee before they were even going to talk about his contract. They had already hired the guy.
Yeah. Yeah. And not only did they hire him, it was the old administrator on his way out the door that hired him.
Yeah. It just seems like that's a common trend down here as well, is the city councils just do things without even involving the public's knowledge. Hell, they didn't even have knowledge themselves. They hired the guy, and then you've got people going over there going, well, what's the job description? Did we even approve a job description?
Yeah. You're hired.
No, you're hired. We don't know what the job description is yet, but you're hired.
Sounds good. I'll take it. Yep. Sounds good.
Oh, man.
Well, I guess the big question is what happens if supposedly the investigation finds that he did do something wrong, and they have to come out and grab him up?
Nope. He's a cop. They don't do wrong.
Okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, we can laugh at that one. Okay. But seriously, John, apparently they can do no wrong down here. And even then, when they do go wrong,
it's not like you tased somebody in the face, bro.
Right?
I mean,
if there's no
you can't do no wrong
evidence, you don't do no wrong. That's basically how it goes down here.
Yeah.
Vern, come on, Vern. Get out of the shot, Vern. You come on, man.
Dang, Vern.
Vern walking in front of the camera again.
Yeah. Man. Yeah. You remember this one. This is that's what he's gonna enforce, That new police chief, maybe he can enforce this CRS here.
Well, they take those. Yeah, they took that sign down.
I got reports. I got reports. They're back up.
Oh, are they? See, we leave them alone for a little bit.
Yeah.
We see what happens. They go back to the old ways, John.
Yeah, they're telling people they can't record.
I hate to point out the obvious, but the CRS that they got there, it doesn't exist.
Shh, John, don't tell them that. They don't.
No. Sorry to blow the secret.
You gotta let them feel smart every once in a while, John. At least they put up some sort of CRS.
Well, they get the letters and the dots right. You're correct there.
Yeah. They're getting there. A little closer. Yeah. All right. Well, that was that. That was a good meeting. Good time. Some public interaction, even though there wasn't many people there. We should see more people there, But you can't get people to show up to these things hardly, But at least we was able to cover it, because I know a lot of people don't use Zoom. So if you're watching it here, appreciate it.
Or if you're watching it here, appreciate it. We're streaming on both channels. If you haven't, go over to GCMs. If you're on mine, hit that like. If you're over on GCMs, do me a favor, come over and hit me up with a like as well. That would be awesome. That always helps the algorithm.
That algorithm. We appreciate you guys all coming. John Denicola, we appreciate you being up here, brother.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Everybody in chat, you guys have a great evening. Enjoy the rest of the week. We've got a couple more meetings this week still. So make sure that on both channels you ring that bell, hit all notifications. So that way you can join us for the next town meeting, wherever we may be.
All right. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful evening. We'll leave you with this.
We rise up, hear the call, united voices, we won't fall. In the streets we stand so tall, holding power, we'll break the wall. We are the people, we hold the key, accountability, we set it free. From the shadows we bring the lights, together we fight, we claim our rights. Cameras rolling, truth on display. Watchdogs barking, we lead the way. Good citizens, we make our stand. In every heartbeat, we take command. We are the people, we hold the key. Accountability, we set it free. From the shadows, we bring the lights. Together we fight, we claim our rights. No more silence, no more fear. With every voice, we persevere. We expose the lies, uncover the facts. Find us online, we're on the attack. We are the people, we hold the key. Accountability, we set it free.